Nerderotic.com.
A bunch of adult pretenders and creatives, including a lot of them who will be working for Warner Brothers, signed a letter in protest for the merger that is absolutely inevitable. And they're doing it to make themselves look good to the crew. They don't really believe in any of this because Jar Jar Abrams signed the letter. What production company has Bad Robot worked with the most? Who helped Bad Robot in the early days with Daddy's tech billions? That would be Skydance. That would be fucking Skydance. Oh my God. We got raided by Day Cobra. Hail! Jeremy, do you believe Jar Jar would turn on his bro, David Ellison, the guy who fucking helped make him? What a fucking piece of shit. Dude is such a piece of shit. He's the worst thing that's ever happened to Hollywood. Makes Zack Snyder look like a cinematic genius. You know who else signed that? Damon Lindelof, who is currently writing Lanterns. I wonder did James Gunn sign it? I'm wondering if James Gunn signed it. But 1,000 people signed it, and David Ellison came back. It's like, hey, listen, I know he's got to say all this shit. So he's like, I know a lot of things have interrupted our industry, and we'll talk about it more. He's like, COVID and tech. You know what nobody mentioned? The strike. Neither side mentioned the strike, which was the primary cause of this merger. Stars speak out against Paramount-Warner deal. By the way, the Attorney General of California, is gonna make this a priority. I mean, because we don't need to, prosecute murderers and drug dealers and deal with the fentanyl zombies that have taken over the major cities in that state. The supermajority from the Democrats that have made the normal purple and red areas of the state basically prisoners in their own state. By the way, I'm not a black pill person at all. Okay. I think there may be a time where California can at least go purple again someday. It's going to take a couple generations. So we saw what happened with Eric Swalwell. He was taken out by his own party because he was splitting the vote. And they took care of that problem. They fixed the glitch. But yeah, so Attorney General is going to find time to go over this merger and have absolutely no fucking power whatsoever to stop it. They can sue all day long, but they're not going to stop it. David Ellison's making some big promises that I don't know if he could keep. More than 1,000 film and TV stars and creatives, including Joaquin Phoenix, Ben Stiller, and Kristen Stewart. I thought you said creatives and stars. Joaquin Phoenix, okay. Ben Stiller, you've drank the Hollywood Kool-Aid, kind of a Nepo baby, but you've earned it with Tropic Thunder, bro. So I'll give you a little respect. Although if you're wondering why you can't do comedy anymore, it's the people you vote for. It's the people you vote for, the people you work for. Issued an open letter early Monday opposing Paramount Skydance's pending acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, I am of the belief that they would have penned this for Netflix too. They would have. It's just a sign to show we're with you with the crew. I mean, we totally know this is inevitable, and yeah, we're going to still work. But as far as the IATSE members, the work, the crew members, the blue collar working class Hollywood, you're fucked. But we want to tell you, while we sign deals with Warner Paramount, that we're really sympathetic to you. Oh, we're not going to do it. We're going to sign a letter. That's all we're going to really fucking do. But man, we're with you, because let's be real. They're not wrong. Half of y'all are going to be gone. Half of y'all are going to be gone. And it sucks. And you know who you can blame? Joaquin Phoenix, Ben Stiller, Damon Lindelof. These are the people you can blame. We are deeply concerned by indications of support for the merger that prioritize the interest of a small group of powerful stakeholders over the broad public good. You have a concern now. Really? You have a concern now. What do you think Netflix is owned by? I mean, Paramount-Warner is still going to be a publicly traded company, but it's still, it's controlled by a couple of guys, who totally agree with you. So you've never had a problem with that. It's amazing how Hollywood has all of a sudden recognized authoritarianism, right? Because they completely ignored it during the Biden administration. They didn't have a fucking thing to say during the Biden administration. They're deeply concerned about it now, guys. And the reason they're deeply concerned is because Jimmy Kimmel got suspended for a weekend, and they tried to push it that it was the Trump administration that suspended him when it was actually advertisers who were backing out. They tried to conflate Colbert into this when he's just being fired because nobody watches this show and it's not funny. By the way, Kimmel will be on his way out too, not long after that. So they're all concerned about free speech. Weren't concerned about free speech when they were silencing private citizens, locking up private citizens. Not concerned about it at all. The integrity, independence, and diversity of our industry would be grievously compromised. Competition is essential, guys. Merit is essential. Competition is essential. That's interesting for a healthy economy and healthy democracy. We're not a democracy. So is thoughtful regulation and enforcement. Define thoughtful regulation and enforcement. What happened to Parler? Whether you agree with that side of the aisle or not, remind me what happened to the social network Parler. Does anybody remember? I don't think Parler. I think if it does exist, it barely exists. Corporations colluded to take out another corporation. The government didn't lift a fucking finger to stop it. It was the most illegal thing I have seen in a long time. Again, you don't have, it's not a matter of who you agree with. If they did the same thing to Blue Sky, I wouldn't agree with it. Or fucking Mastodon or wherever the weirdos go, I wouldn't agree with it. The Biden administration had 3-letter agencies working at all the tech companies, suspending private accounts, getting channels demonetized. Again, it doesn't really fucking matter if you agree with these people or not. Doesn't matter. Nobody said a fucking thing. But all of a sudden, David Ellison, who has worked in Hollywood for almost 2 decades and pretty much gets along with everybody because of a light association to the president, which might be some donations, maybe a couple of meetings, they are freaking out. And remember, they were for Paramount not too long ago. They were like, we'd rather have Paramount than Netflix because of theatrical. And Paramount, David Ellison so far has promised 30 movies a year, which is a lot. And I don't think he can keep that up. But your alternative is one of those studios not being around anymore, or both of them being out of streaming completely. That's your alternative. I think there's this crazy idea that Warner Brothers and Paramount will be able to continue as is. I think Paramount would be in a better space because they have an owner with some money. Warner Brothers would not be. Warner Brothers would continue to get in debt and then get swooped up by Apple or Netflix eventually. If this doesn't go down, they're going to get bought by somebody. Their stock was $8, $8 a share. So competition is essential. That's another thing I want to bring up. Competition is essential. Has CBS News, ABC News, NBC News, can you tell the difference between those three? Like at all? Disney, Netflix, Amazon. Can you really tell do those studios have a personality of any kind? Do they do things differently, or do they all put the same messaging in all their shit across the board? Same with Paramount. So are you really competing? Not sure. Run by CEO David Ellison, Paramount Skydance announced its intended $111 billion acquisition, which is so overpaying, of David Zaslav-led Warner Brothers Discovery in late February following a battle with Netflix for the assets. Like, Disney overpaid for Fox, like a lot. The only thing you can make an argument for is Hulu and the access to live sports, but they still overpaid. Paramount issued a lengthy statement in response to the letter Monday. We hear and understand the concerns that some of our creative community have raised in respect of the commitment to protecting and expanding creativity. Has Hollywood been expanding creativity lately? Chat. Have they been doing? Is that what they've been doing? Toy Story 5, Scary Movie 6, a second Mortal Kombat 2, Moana, a live-action animated remake of an animated movie. These are your big summer movies. A fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, which in reality is a ninth Spider-Man movie. Insidious, whatever. So have they been expanding creativity for real? Importantly, as creators, we know firsthand that this is also a moment when the industry has been facing significant disruption. Oh, I wonder who did that. And the need for strong, creative first and well-capitalized companies that can continue to invest in storytelling has never been greater. Most of the motherfuckers in Hollywood call themselves socialists, but man, they want well-capitalized companies to invest in their money because all these millionaires, the millionaires and billionaires, Jar Jar Abrams can fund his own independent project. Joaquin Phoenix can fund his own independent project. Kristen Stewart can make a lesbian porno, but they need the funding. So eat the rich, except the ones who are going to pay for my shitty movie. This transaction uniquely brings together complementary strengths to create a company that can greenlight more projects, back bold ideas, support talent across multiple stages of their careers, and bring other stories to audiences at a truly global scale, while strengthening competition by ensuring multiple scaled players are investing in creative talent. We're starting to get into big corporate speak here. We have been clear. Everybody wants to be clear. I want to be clear. And now I'm going to talk in a bunch of corporate speak that, it doesn't really say anything. I want to be clear. Our commitments to do just that, increasing output to a minimum of 30 high quality feature films annually with full theatrical releases. That should be enough. That was more than Netflix was offering. And honestly, I think it's more than Warner Brothers and Paramount would independently produce together. And David Ellison can probably float for a while without making a profit because his dad is a gazillionaire. I mean, you kind of should, if you're an actor, you're like, okay, cool. Now, if you don't believe him, that's understandable. I don't think he can maintain that. I don't think that's even possible to maintain that. But we'll see. The one thing it doesn't, there's going to be layoffs. There's already layoffs. And the reason there's layoffs is because fewer people are going to see movies. Hollywood stopped making good movies. Fewer people went. Nobody needs a movie. There's a lot more competition out there. Hollywood is in competition with itself. You have almost the entirety of all of Hollywood, once you've paid your $300 for all your streaming services, but you have it. It's all out there. So they're competing against themselves. Why would I be invested in Daredevil or The Boys when I can go watch the fucking X-Files? That's competition. You're also in competition with everybody in this chat. Anybody who does a live stream, anybody's on social media, they're taking your eyes away to watch a post, a live stream, a video. So that's new competition. Plus there's live sports and there's everything that's out there. So that was going to happen anyway. It doesn't help that you made a bunch of shit and you demonized half the country. Something none of the Access Media articles will ever, and have never brought up. And it's the biggest problem they have. They told half the country to fuck off, and they did. And they're all, bigot, please buy our movie tickets. Please, bigot. You're still a bigot, and you're a foul person, and we're going to make everything you like gay because you need to hear it, because you need to be educated, bigot, but we need you to buy our tickets. So what we'll do is we'll throw Daredevil in a show and Kingpin, and then we'll surround them with a bunch of annoying middle-aged women to teach you that women can do stuff too. Continuing to license content and preserving iconic brands with independent creative leadership, ensuring creators have more avenues for their work, not fewer. Like, nobody should have a problem. They have a problem because of his association with the president, right? Never mind that some of the actors who have signed this buddy with, listen, I don't think anybody who's a leader of a country, of a major country, it's not a job I'd ever want. You become president, you become prime minister. The minute you take that job, you will be responsible for someone's death, a lot of people's death. And you'll have to go to bed at night, every night, knowing one of my decisions that I had to make for whatever reason led to the death of children, women, men, innocents. It's just the way the world works. But David Ellison having an association with the president is no different than Jar Jar cozying up to any socialist leader, or Zelensky, or Jamie Foxx being buds with Madero, whatever his fucking name is. Hell, half of Hollywood was in love with Obama. He killed American citizens. But this is a bridge too far. Included in the featured signatories, I can't, whatever, section, the new open letter opposing the deal, which signed by more than 1,034 people at the time of publication, were Adam McKay. Oh my God. The director of Ant-Man. Alan Cumming. You're a fucking Brit. Fuck off. Alyssa Milano. Oh no. She's protesting and she's not going to make anything. What are we going to do? Boots Riley. Bryan Cranston. Cynthia Nixon. Damon Lindelof. David Fincher. Oh, come on, Fincher. Denis Villeneuve. Ellen Page. Glenn Close. Hanoi Jane Fonda. Jar Jar Abrams. Jason Bateman. John Leguizamo. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Margaret Cho. Mark Ruffalo. That's a shocker. Noah Wiley. Patty Lapone. Get some poon. I don't know. Rami Youssef. Rosario Dawson. Rosie O'Donnell. She's the ugliest woman I've ever seen. Ted Danson. Tiffany Haddish. Tig Notaro. Well, okay, I'm convinced. If Tig Notaro signed it, then I'm on their side. Yorgos Lanthimos, Yvette Nicole Brown, among others. The one I want to focus on is Damon Lindelof, who comes out and said Watchmen's creator Lindelof is currently under overall deal with Warner Brothers Discovery HBO, explained his reasoning for signing the letter in an Instagram post on Monday, noting that he does sort of know my potential new boss. No, he's going to be your new boss, bro. It ain't potential. He's going to be your new boss. David Ellison, and calls him bright, ambitious, and passionate exec who loved movies and trusted the people who made them. Lindelof says, despite the impression he has of the Paramount CEO and the concerns he and his peers have with potential relationship in the industry, he chose to sign the open letter opposing the merger, mainly in support of Hollywood's blue-collar town makeup. Okay, you're not a blue-collar town anymore. You haven't been in a long time. Hollywood used to be a blue-collar industry. You're not anymore. I believe he says they're going to get fucked. They're all about to get fucked. Damon Lindelof reveals blue-collar reason he signed anti-Paramount WBD merger missive. Here's the deal. And Roy Price, former founder of Amazon Prime and former executive of Amazon Prime, pointed out correctly that they're under the impression that they can stop this merger and that both companies will be able to continue healthy if they don't, which is just not true. They'll probably both get out of streaming because they can't afford it. And you got to think, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. How could HBO, it's been around for 50 years, one of the most well-known brands out there for prestige TV, how could it be failing? How can the company that owns DC be failing? How can the company that owns the distribution rights to Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, how could it be failing? It's because it was run by a bunch of dumb motherfuckers. It's really that simple. How could the company that owns the rights to Looney Tunes be failing? And that's just scratching the surface. They have so much shit. They have IP that can compete with Disney right now, and they're failing. How can the company that had the biggest hit of the summer, it made the most money ever, Superman? Oh, it didn't. Never mind. How can the company that has James Gunn be failing? How is this possible? Because they're fucking stupid. Do you know how disappointing it is? I'm a George R. R. Martin fan, right? But I'm more of a Tolkien fan. You know how disappointing it is that like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is better than new Lord of the Rings shit? Kind of makes you sick. But Damon Lindelof is part of the reason people are suffering because of the shit he writes. I mean, I felt my imagination getting fucked when I was watching Watchmen. It felt like it was imagination rape. That's what it was. Horrible show. You want to know why Warner Brothers had to be sold? Black Snape. I need to go just Black Snape. Black Snape. You know, with House of the Dragon, you look at the Black Valerians and you go, all right, they made it work in the story, but those wigs are flip this around. You're doing Black Panther 3. They find a secret, like, white Wakanda colony, but they all have like Jerry curl and they all have black people hair. How would people react to that? It is silly seeing black people with these giant blonde dread. Okay, for real. It's fucking silly. And I hope there's a day people look back on that and go, what the fuck was going on? Because that means we'd be returning to sanity. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. The modern audience doesn't exist, chat. There's no such thing as the modern audience. There is only the audience. So yeah, that was interesting to see go down today. And then you noticed in Ellison's response, he didn't bring up the strikes. Nobody brought up the strikes. Now it's open. Remember when things were fine just a couple of years ago? Now everybody is saying what we alarmists and with the hyperbolic titles to videos like Hollywood is cooked. Well, Hollywood's fucking cooked. They're cooked. Everything's down across the board 30%. Employment, production, ticket sales, it's even more. It's actually creeping up to 40%. I'm not very good at math, but 40% is pretty close to fucking half. And how much of the country have they told to fuck off for the last 10 years? Half. Doesn't take a genius to recognize this shit. Obviously, if I can recognize it. So the strikes did them in. They could have recovered from COVID. It was one or the other. If they had done a strike without COVID, they would have been able to recover from the strike. If they did COVID without the strike, they would have been able to recover from COVID. But you can't recover from both. People broke the habit. They found other stuff to do. And when you break that habit, people go, wait a minute. Is it worth me like going out and spending, say I've got, a wife and 2 kids, so it's $100. And that's if you live in the burbs. If you live in a city, it's $150 because you got to pay for parking. And then your car, well, if you're in San Francisco, 50-50 chance your car gets broken into. Then you got to buy popcorn and else. That's an expensive trip to go see The Bride or Scary Movie 6. They could talk about how important competition is and how important art and film is for the world. You just gave one woke after another Best Picture for its politics. And as a middle finger to the man. I mean, you haven't changed. You're not going to change. And I don't think you're going to win anybody back. This was supposed to be a big comeback year, and they will not learn the lessons from Project Hail Mary. Because that's what people want. That's what people want. Project Hail Mary.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.